Sex for jobs, sexual abuse in the fishing industry and corporate organizations, poor remuneration are among a litany of complaints listed as part of human rights abuses in businesses in Ghana. The Attorney General's Office and the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, RAJ, are spearheading and working with other institutions on the development of a national action plan to stem the tide. The concerns about business-related abuse came up during a stakeholder consultation workshop that will be incorporated in that particular NAP at Takrady in the Western region. Maxwell Agbagba is there for us and reports.
The National Action Plan on Business and Rights has arisen in response to the concerns of the United Nations about the poor human rights provisions and enforcement in businesses and the need for businesses to respect human rights in all their dealings. Some countries have already produced and activated their action plans, while several others are now in the process of doing so. Ghana has already initiated the process to produce a national action plan for promoting human rights in businesses. And the consultation workshop in the Western region has brought together various stakeholders to gather views to be incorporated. In an interview with JoyNews, the chairperson of the Business and Human Rights National Action Plan Steering Committee, Dr. Sylvia Dusu, said concerns about sexual abuse in the fishing industry and others came up strongly during the SAP group discussions.
In the group that I headed, the people are saying that there's a lot of sexual harassment in the fishing industry, and that young girls especially are being used in the fishing industry as prostitutes because of the poverty, the endemic poverty in this area. And then I can see that there's no avenue for these girls to have redress. The very people that they could have complained to are the people who are perpetrating these human rights violations. The fishermen also complain that the Navy are harassing them on the sea, and that they take the fish, the little fish they are able to catch from them. And among that also, I think the media has also complained of sexual harassment. And so there's a lot of recommendations have come out on what we should do about it. And I think they are very important recommendations. One of them is that the chieftaincy institution should be empowered to be able to help against these human rights abuses.
Chief State Attorney at the Office of the Attorney General in the Western Region, Patience Klinogo, says there exists an unacceptable gap in the integration of human rights into the principles and practice of business management in Ghana. The National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights will help deal with the problem.
You remember recently, during the World Press Freedom Day celebration, Professor Oditateku, in delivering the State of the Ghanaian Media Report, that's 2023, stated that salaries of media practitioners are shockingly low, and that some journalists earn as low as 500 to 1,000 cedis a month. Think about the case of the so-called casual worker, who after working for months or 2 to 3 years or more, is sent home without any benefit being paid to him. Think also of the stories of some foreign companies in Ghana, where Ghanaian workers are threatened with grants just because they demand respect of certain rights. There was even the story of a director of a foreign company in Ghana who used to allegedly urinate into the water they were supposed to drink. And remember the issue of sexual harassment at workplaces. Several women have complained about being asked to sleep with their employers to get their jobs or promotion. Of course, many claim they declined such offers and lost their jobs. And what about the story of sex for grades in our universities?
Member of the steering committee and lead anchor for the drafting of the action plan, Victor Broby, says, among others, the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights will introduce a public assessment and ranking of businesses based on their human rights record.
Its potential human rights. That's basically what human rights due diligence process process does. We are going to create a business and human rights rating system. In other words, Shraj, in conjunction with other stakeholders, are going to rank companies on their compliance levels with business and human rights norms. So to the extent to which you undertake human rights due diligence policies, the extent to which you have human rights policies in place, the extent to which you are good human rights citizens. And of course, these rankings will be published and would serve as a guide to the general public that wants to interact and be consumers of these companies.
Western Regional Minister Kwabena Ochudako-Mensah says the National Action Plan, when activated, will enhance the protection of rights.
Businesses thrive to grow the economy of countries, but we cannot do it at the expense of human rights. Okay, so this workshops is to put together all the policies and the law and the framework that government want to present to the people of Ghana and to businesses and say, look, this is the way you should apply yourself about you are doing business.
Say, and